Today is an exciting day because I just got my new Aquastrong pump filter combination kit delivered, and I can't wait to get this thing set up on my pool. Last year, Aquastrong and I did a collaboration together on a pump at the end of my pool season, and I couldn't believe how powerful and strong this pump was. When Aquastrong reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do more collaborations with them, I was absolutely thrilled. This is the SFPV181T combination kit, and it features a 6-way valve for filtering and backwashing your pool. It's capable of maintaining up to 28,000 gallons of pool water. It features a 1.5 horsepower high performance pump which can push up to 6,500 gallons per hour. And the filter itself can hold up to 150 pounds of sand. Aquastrong also sent me their new pool filter balls. So I'm not going to be using sand. I'm going to be trying something new this year with filter balls that are a lot easier and lighter to maintain with your filter, and they're cleanable. I'm going to start by doing an unboxing, and I'll show you all the parts and pieces that come with this kit. I'm going to show you how I set it up on my pool, and then hopefully I can get it started so I can explain all the features. So here's everything you get when you purchase one of these Aquastrong filter and pump combination kits. I know it seems like a lot of parts and pieces, but that's because Aquastrong has given you all the different adapters to connect to your pool no matter how you have it piped. For example, you get these types of connections here with clamps if you have flexible hoses. You end up with these connections here if you have hoses or hard pipe with threaded connections, and you end up with connections like this if you're hard pipe like I have it with PVC. They even give you extensions and adapters if your PVC piping is 2-inch. Luckily mine is 1.5 inches, so I can use these connections right out of the box as they are. Of course, you end up with the filter tank itself, which, like I said, holds 150 pounds of sand, but I'm going to be using the filter balls this year. Inside it is this filter sort of mechanism in there that is at the bottom, and all the sand in the balls or whatever you use inside there will filter through it. You end up with a filter pump base, which is really great because it's interchangeable depending on what direction you need to face your pump. I was glad to see that because, again, I'm hard piped out of the ground and I didn't want to have to redo all my piping to make this work. They also give you this really cool filtering sort of adapter here. You place on top, it goes over that piped connection in there, so when you're filling it with sand, you don't end up getting sand inside that pipe filter. Aquastrong gives me these 2 different hoses that can connect my filter to my pump depending on what kind of connection I have. But again, because I'm hard piped, I'm going to keep everything consistent. Of course, you end up with your 6-way valve here, which is pretty standard in the configuration from Hayward's or any other pump that you've had in the past. It allows you to filter, wash, be closed, backwashed, recirculate, and rinse. And with that, you end up with a gasket and a clamp in order to mount it to your filter tank. You also end up with a new sight glass so that you can monitor the clarity of your water when you're backwashing. And you also get a new pressure gauge so that you can monitor the pressure of your pump. My kit came with a 1.5 horsepower pump, and this pump is really great. It's identical to the one that I had last year, except it's a little bit smaller in horsepower, but it's still capable of pushing 6,500 gallons per hour. That's the equivalent of recirculating my entire pool 3 times on an average day. This pump has an integrated timer so that you can set it for 2 to 24 hours, so it'll automatically turn on and off. You don't have to worry about taking care of that. One of my favorite features about this pump is the cover for the basket allows you to use this wrench it comes with in order to take it off and clean out your basket. For years, I struggled with the Hayward cover, which doesn't have a wrench and it is pressurized, so it is very difficult to pull off with your bare hands. This is not going to give me that same trouble because of that wrench. Along with all that, Aquastrong also gives you a warranty card, which allows you to use this QR code to register your product. When you do that, you end up with an extended 1-year warranty, giving me a total of 3-year warranty on all of this. And they'll replace your product once during that warranty period. 3 years is a lot to say. It means that Aquastrong really stands behind their product. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is assemble this partially so that I can see what I need to do and reconfigure with my existing piping. And then I'll have to pull apart my old pump and filter and see if I can rework some of the fittings. Potentially I'm going to have to go out to a Lowe's or a Home Depot and pick up some PVC fittings, but that's pretty simple and easy to do. PVC fittings and pipe is really cheap and gluing it is really simple. The assembly is pretty straightforward. The tank screws into the base, making it secure, and the pump attaches to the base with a couple of nuts and washers. The 6-way valve sits on top of the tank and slides over that internal pipe filter system. I'm going to leave everything loose until I can figure out how to make all my pipe connections to my existing PVC pipe. Now I need to disconnect my old pump and filter and move it out of the way for the new Aquastrong combo kit. Reconfiguring my existing piping is just a matter of cutting things back and gluing it all back together with some new PVC fittings so that the pipes line up with a new pump and valve. The only thing I have left to do now is simply make up a 90-degree connection between the pump and the 6-way valve itself. So now that all my pipe fittings are all glued together and everything seems to be fitting very nicely, I need to finish the assembly of the filter itself, which means I need to fill it with a medium. So I'm going to take off the 6-way valve, which, as you can see, is now very easy to do, that I have all my fittings put together. And I'm going to use this really cool device that it comes with, which goes over that center tube to prevent anything from getting inside there and only go around it like it's supposed to. I'm also going to be using the filter balls, which I showed you earlier. This is not something I've ever done before, and to be honest, I'm a little bit skeptical, but the reviews say that these things filter out a smaller particle, micron-wise, in your pool, so that it's actually cleaner and clearer than filter sand. So we're going to try it out and see what happens. This is 4.6 pounds of filter balls, which is the equivalent of 150 pounds of sand that I would have to put into this filter. So that's going to be a lot easier to do with this. And like I said, you can take these out, wash them down, and clean them as they need to be. These things are vacuum sealed, so once you cut open that bag, they actually expand. They're about 2.5 inches in diameter, each one of them. And I should also point out that these are the Pro filter balls. So other than taking a few minutes to make sure that all my connections are nice and tight, the only things I have left to do is add the sight glass, which basically just screws in here in this little port once you put in the gasket, and that allows for you to see how clear the water is when you're backwashing. And then the other thing that's left is to put in the pressure gauge, which I have already taken a few seconds to add some thread tape that Aquastrong has provided for me. So I will say this, the entire setup of this pump and filter combination only took me about 30 minutes, minus a quick trip to Home Depot to pick up a few parts. It really went together very easily. Everything fit together. All the parts and pieces that I was ever going to need were included with this thing. The instructions were very easy to read and follow. Of course, I knew how to set these things up because I'd already done mine a few times already in the past. So now the only thing I have left to do is get some water running through this, but I need to fill up my pool because it is very early in the pool season and my water level is really low. So I'm going to need to do that before I get my pump started. When it comes to actually using the pump and the timer, which is my favorite feature, the first thing you need to do is make sure that it's plugged in and then hit the timer button until the green light lights up at the amount of hours you want the pump to run, and then basically just turn it on. Once that happens, your pump will now turn on every time at that same time and run for that amount of hours. So my initial thought is that now that the pump and filter are running, that it's actually pretty quiet. I'm sitting right here with it running full speed, and I don't think it's very loud at all to deal with. And based on what I can see inside my pool from my jet, it seems to be moving a lot of water. I will have to give it some time to see how the filter balls work in comparison to the filter sand that I've been using for so many years. And trust me, I will be putting this thing through the test because my water is in desperate need of cleaning. So I've been running my pump now for a couple of days, trying to clear my water from the really bad opening I had this spring, and it has done an amazing job. The water's not perfectly clear yet, but I know that's going to happen within the next day or two. So I'm going to keep running it, backwashing it, making sure that the chemicals are where they need to be, and I'm pretty sure that this thing is going to make my water really, really nice this year. This filter pump combination does everything it's supposed to do, providing me with gauges and a sight glass, and all the controls are just as normal as they would be on any other pump filter setup. The bonus is the pump itself is super powerful and has the built-in timer. So whether you're in the market to buy a new pump filter setup or you're looking to upgrade something that you already have, I definitely recommend the Aquastrong combination kits. These things are available in different size filters and different horsepower pump combinations depending on what size pool you have. I'm going to leave some links below to the ones that I have and maybe some others for you to check them out and buy them for yourself. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video, and I hope that you have somehow made up your mind to make a switch to Aquastrong, because this company is really great. They stand behind their product, and I guarantee you'll be happy.